Okay, welcome back. Lesson 4, part 2. And we're still looking at long division, but we're going to move into decimals. So if I have 27 divided by 5, okay, how many tens blocks do I have in 27? So I have 2 tens blocks. Okay, and I can't evenly divide those 2 tens blocks into groups of 5 without breaking them up into ones. Okay, so if I'm going to just look at 5 dividing into 2 there, it's not going to work unless I break that up. So in the tens place, we're going to put a 0 there. And I'm going to bring these down. Okay, now, do I really need to have this 0 here? No, because then I've just rewritten this. So that's something that we just don't normally do. And so then I'm going to multiply 5 by 5, and that's 25, and then there's going to be 2 remaining. Okay, so the 5 here is the number of ones blocks in each group. 27 is the number of blocks traded from tens blocks, right, to be placed in groups. And 25 is the number of ones blocks placed, and 2 is how many are left over. So again, if I'm going to divide 63 by 8, okay, I don't need to write that 0 here. So I can then just find a number that's going to get me as close to 63 as possible without going over, which is going to be 56. Okay, and then I'm going to subtract, and I'm going to have, this is how many is remaining. Okay, I'm going to get you to do these two on your own. So pause the video. All right, so if I'm going to, there's not going to be anything here. 6 times 5 is 30, so this is how many tens blocks are being divided up here. I'm going to bring down that 4, and then I'm going to know it's 4, and then there's 20 with 4 remaining. Okay, same here, this is going to be 5. There's nothing in this hundreds place, and this is 21, bring down the 4. Okay, and then 4, that's going to be 3, that's 12, and then there's 2 remaining. Okay, the same process goes if I have a 4-digit number. Okay, dividing by 8. So just pause and give this one a chance or a try. Okay, so there is going to be 1,000 place. So I'm going to subtract that, bring down the 1 there. Okay, and I can't use that hundredths block. I can't divide that 100ths block up into 8. So what I need to do is bring down that, because basically I am going to be breaking that hundreds block up into tens. So there's going to be no hundreds blocks. And so 8 times 1 is 8. So there's 2 left over, 24, and that's going to be 3. There's 24 with nothing left over. So we would have 1,000 block left in each group of 8, 0 hundreds, 1 10, and 1 3. Or sorry, 3 ones blocks. Okay, so if you are struggling because your times tables are not memorized, that is something that we need to rectify. So one of the things that, if you have lots of dividing by 8s, what I suggest people do, and this helps memorize, is along the top of your paper, write out your multiplication tables. Okay, so all the way up to 9 times 9. Okay. 8 times 5 is 40. Okay, and this is where people's times tables tend to drop off a little bit. Okay, is right in here. Okay, so if you're stuck, okay, what you do, if you know what 8 times 6 is off by heart, then I go back there, I know it's 48, and then I add 8 there, which is going to be 56. Okay, or if I didn't know this times table here and I had 8 times 8, I could go back to the last one that I know, Okay, and then I'm going to count up to 8, which is 56. And then I'm going to count up another 8, which is going to be 64. Okay, and then I just keep going and going and going. 8 times 9. If I don't know what that is, then I would count up 64, 65, 66, 78, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, right? Okay, and then I can use this. So how I would use this is I would look here, and I'm like, where I can get close here without going over, right? So I know it's 4, and this helps me make my progress a little faster too. And it helps me memorize those times tables. Okay, and then 55, there we go, is 6, and that's going to give me 48. Okay, and then subtract 2, 7, right? Okay, so and then remainder is 7. Okay, so just do those last 2 problems. If you need to write out the 8 times tables, please do. All right, same thing goes, 6 times tables, lots of people tend to have problems with as well. So I would do the same thing at the top. 6 times 2, 6 times 3, 6 times 4, 6 times 5, 6 times 6, all the way over. And this is where people's skills tend to drop off. So then I can go back, and 36 plus 6, okay, is 42. And then if you, 6 times 8, don't know that, so you're going to plus another 6 to the 42. Okay, plus another 6 to the 48. And then you can use these again. So I know that that is 1. It's going to be 3, bring down the 9, 39. If I wasn't sure, I can look up here. And that is going to be 6. And that's going to be 5. And there's a remainder of 3 there. Okay, so just do these last couple problems there. If you need to use the times tables up the top, write them out for yourself, and then just practice. This is how you get better and better at multiplication as well. Okay, so looking at decimals now, instead of this hundreds block being 100, we're going to use this as 1 whole, okay? And we're going to use the tens block as 1/10, and the ones block as 1/100. So if I was going to draw this out without using those shapes, I would just draw it out as such, just a box, just a straight line, and just a dot. Okay, so if I was going to draw out 5 and 43/100, okay, I draw out the 5 blocks, makes it way faster, and then, okay, nope, one too many, getting carried away. Okay, so then I have the 5 wholes, the 4 tens, and the 3 ones. So what I'm going to get you to do here is draw out the multiplication or the division problem, and then circle them into groups to show what the answer is. So pause the video. So I have 600s here. I have 2 tenths, and I have 400s. Okay, and if I'm going to divide this into 2 groups, okay, I have that one and that one. So if I just write down the answer as the circles, I have 3 decimal, 1, 2. So 3 and 12/100. I can double check this. Okay, I'm going to ignore the decimal place for right now. Okay, so 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, I'm going to bring down that 2, and that's 1. I'm going to bring down that 4, and that's 2. So what I'm going to have you notice here is those decimal places, as long as I keep my columns organized, I can just put that decimal place up there. So let's see if this works on every problem. Okay, so again, pause the video and draw this out. I want you to divide it up. All right, so I have the 3, 6, and 3. And then I'm going to divide them up into groups. So I have all right, because I have 3 groups. So in one group I have 1 whole, 2 tenths, and 1 hundredths. And if I'm going to double check this, okay, 1, that's 3, bring down the 6, that's 2, that's 6, okay, bring down the 3, and that's 1. And then if I do that place value rule where I lined everything up properly, I know that the decimal can go right there. Okay, so here is an example of dividing and comparing wholes to decimals. Okay, so if I have 2 divided into 3.54, I have 3 wholes there. And 3 wholes don't easily divide into 2 groups, do they? So that's going to be one group, and this is going to be the other group. So I don't have the ability to split that up right yet. So I'm going to change this by regrouping, and it becomes those tenths, right? So what happens here is that this 1 whole comes down here, and then I bring down that 5, which is the tenths. And then I'm going to multiply 2 by 7, which is 14. And then this is going to be regrouped into the ones. So I bring the ones down. And so this is going to be multiplied by 7 there, which is 14. Okay? Again, the difference between these is this is going to have a decimal, so I can bring that decimal point up. And I can double check this because I know 3 divided by 2 is going to be 1 something. Now over here, same thing. If I have hundreds blocks, they can't easily be divided into groups of 2, right? Because I can have one group here, and that left over. So 54 divided by 2, the answer is going to be exactly the same except where the decimal goes. Okay, and then what happens all the way along is the same thing. So this 100 is regrouped with the tens. This tens is regrouped with the ones. And so that's why those answers go there. All right, so what I'm going to get you to do is I want you to use estimation in order to be able to figure out where the decimal points go. So I'm going to show you what I mean by this. Okay, so I have 856 and 1/10 divided by 7. Okay, so if I round this to 9, and I'm going to divide 900 divided by 7, I know that 9 is can only be put into one group there. So it would be, I know it's going to be 100 something because I will have 100 place. So I know that this decimal can go in there, and then I can double check with my calculator, type in 856 and 1/10 divided by 7, and it's 122 and 3/10. Okay, so I want you to do that with these next two. So pause the video here. Okay, so the next one, I'm going to round this to 9,000, and I'm going to divide it by 6. So 6 only goes into the 9 once, so there will be a thousandths place, or thousandths place. So I know that the decimal is going to go there, and then I can double check by using my calculator. Okay, now this one, if you counted the decimal places, you would be wrong. So what I'm going to show you is 23, okay, I'm just going to round that down to 20, and then divide by 6. So 20 divided by 6 is going to be just close to 4, but it's going to be like 3 something. So the 6 does not go into the 20. Just the 2. You have to regroup the 20 into the 1. So this would be thinking about the 1s there. So my answer here is going to be close to just 3. So my decimal point should be here. If you counted the decimal places, because of this trailing 0, you would have put it here, and that would have been wrong. Okay, so oftentimes it's really important to estimate and to know how to use estimation skills, because then you can very quickly double check your answers. Okay, so I was going to do this problem to show you how we line up the decimal, but I kind of did it as we went. So please stop the video and you can finish off the worksheets that come with this one.